Ongoing conflict in the Middle East continues to impact gas prices here at home. We wanted to learn more about the current state of prices and why they aren't lower due to the presence of the oil industry in our state. Now, yesterday, we told you gas prices are up roughly 15 cents across the Peace Garden state since last Monday and almost half a dollar in the past month. The statewide average of $3.60 a gallon remains well below most of the rest of the country. Eugene Grainer with Heartland Investors says prices should eventually come back down as we approach an end to the conflict overseas. Grainer adds it's typical for prices to increase going into warmer weather as summer blends require a more expensive refining process.
Prices currently may have peaked out and conversely see the prices decline towards summer when we normally expect a price rise.
While North Dakota has drilling, pipelines, and refineries, Grainer adds that doesn't mean motorists in our state will necessarily see lower prices at the pump, as it still needs to be transported to refineries and then to market. He adds Fargo can sometimes have cheaper prices since they have 3 pipelines in the area.